And good morning, everyone. It is 7:08 a.m., and we are back here with Dave King and Matt Martin in the morning. And also joining us this morning is Karen Gibson. I guess we say Councilwoman Karen Gibson, and we also say candidate for the county judge.
Yes.
Would that be accurate?
Yes, sir.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above. Karen, how are you this morning?
I am good. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, ditto. So what's your plan for Valentine's Day?
Well, tonight we're going to the Purple Hearts Valentine's dinner,
Ah, yes.
honoring Gold Star families.
Yeah, that will be wonderful.
It will be.
Well, of course, you're here this morning to talk about, normally when you're here, you're talking about city council duty, and that's usually on a Friday after a Thursday meeting. But this morning, you're here talking about your run for county judge. Well, there are 3 of you in the race. How's it going?
It's going good. Doing a lot of block walking, doing a lot of speaking to people. And
So you're getting a lot of interesting questions?
I am. You know, I was telling somebody yesterday, it's interesting to me to talk to people and hear their perspectives and their different perspectives on the same issues all over town.
Right.
So it's been fun. You forget from campaign to campaign how much fun it is going out and shaking hands and talking to people out on the street.
Yeah. So how many people actually know what a county judge does? When you talk to them, are they like, what does a county judge do?
A lot of people. It's been a long, long time since we've had a race for county judge. And so a lot of it's been education. A lot of it has been explaining to people exactly what a county judge does. They think it's a judge in an actual courtroom, and that's just not what it is, a county judge.
No, we were talking off mic about how it might be misnamed as county judge. Because it really, that's not the judge duties is not really the duties of it.
The duties of a county judge aren't primarily judicial. The judge's duties are primarily administrative. The budget, the emergency management.
No, we're talking about over the county commissioners, your budget, your county budget.
Well, the duties of the county judge and the commissioners are the budget, and that's to me, it's a year-round duty. You do that from the day the budget's passed. You start the next day, and you begin your next budget. And I think that is the duty of the responsibility of the county judge overseeing that, along with the county commissioners. I don't think that the judge should pass that down to the commissioners or a committee of 2 commissioners to do that job.
So, what do you think some of the biggest jobs will be? Well, let's see. What are some of the biggest obstacles that are coming up for the county next year?
Roads, obviously. I think that's roads and your public safety. Funding those 2 things are going to be big. And they both go hand in hand. I think your roads are also your public safety. Getting your kids to school, getting your people to work, getting everybody there safely. I think that's a number 1 issue with everyone. I do also think you've got to be able to fund the sheriff's department and your public safety, law enforcement fully. But what I also think is you have to go into that budget once again, and I've done this every year on council, and I plan to continue it as county judge, going line by line and finding those savings. You don't just go in there and say, we're going to fund it no matter what. You have to go find the savings to fund what you need.
Okay. So you were talking about roads, and as far as roads are concerned, I know that a lot of the people that aren't or that are more like northeast and different areas of Lubbock County feel like southwest Lubbock, they seem to be getting all the funds for the roads and all of the movement down there, and they feel like they're kind of getting ignored. I know that I've talked to some people from Slayton that feel that way as well. How would you approach that and find a way to help those people as well?
That's a great question. I think the first thing you have to do is gather your information, find the priorities, find what roads need to be done first. Get you a priority list, get a plan in place, and work with your commissioners in each precinct. What needs to be done first in this precinct? What needs to be done first in this precinct? So I think that's the first thing you have to do is sit down with your commissioners and figure out a plan for each precinct. To me, that's how it should work. I think the judge has to work budgetarily. Each precinct each commissioner is obviously in charge of their precinct
Right.
and their roads, but I do think the judge needs to work very closely with each commissioner on what are those priorities and what roads need to be done in each of those precincts and what needs to be done to them, whether it's the bar ditches, whether it's the actual road, does it need to be graded, do the bar ditches need to be clean, where water has a place to go when it does rain. I mean, I know right now people don't think about rain, but it's going to rain. We've seen this before.
Hopefully Friday.
Well, we've seen it before. And then a rain comes and we've got water standing everywhere because there's nowhere for it to go. And so I think that's very important to get that done while we're dry and get it fixed now so that when it does rain, we have a place for that water to go.
So that's one of the big issues, you think?
I do believe it is. I've heard it time and time again.
Well, you know, I've known you for a long, long time. And tell me, what makes you run? What motivates you to run for office?
You know, several years ago, way back when I first was on council, I had to ask Mayor Martin to get together a group to work together with the county. I just saw so many opportunities for the county and the city to work together, and that was way back when. We did have a meeting with the city council and the commissioner's court, and it literally just turned into what I would call a media fiasco. Nothing came of it. The media was there. All the county commissioners were there. All of the city council was there, and nothing came out of it. And I was very frustrated after that. Mayor Martin had asked Judge Head, and I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but basically to form a committee and let's see where we could work together. And nothing ever came of it. Nothing against anybody. There was just nothing done. And so later on in my tenure, there was a county road crew working on roads, fixing potholes. They called our streets guy and said, "You've got a pothole just inside the city limits that needs to be fixed." Well, they're right there. And that's when I decided something has got to give. You've got to find a way to save taxpayer money. They were right there. They could have fixed it. Let's find some way to work together and save people money. The city side had to dispatch a whole crew, and the county crew was right there. Yeah. So there's so many ways that the city and the county can work together to save money on both sides. And we all live in the county. Everyone lives in the county. I think there are many, many ways, and I think you just look at each city, Slayton, Idlewild, Shallowater, Wolforth, all of them, including the city of Lubbock, and see how those cities and the county can work together to save money. That's my motivation.
Okay. Well, 7:16 a.m., we'll take a quick break and come back on the other side and talk more with Karen Gibson. We'll be right back. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM. We are KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin, right here on your radio. 7:22 a.m., and we return visiting with Karen Gibson, who is running for county judge. And we did have a text messenger this morning, Karen, that says property tax relief, ?
I don't have a problem with it at all. I've never had a problem with it. I actually have a meeting this afternoon with Representative Burrows about that very thing. I think where it's probably going to end up is maybe a little over the 2.5%. Where I do think the problem are the unfunded mandates. Lubbock County does not have the issue that these smaller populated counties have. Excuse me. But I was the elected official that came out for it to begin with. I don't have a problem with the property tax relief at all. I think anytime you vote for more, and we've never gone over that threshold, by the way. So while I've been on council. So I think anytime it's going to go over that, you educate people. Just educate them on what it's going to be. Now, if you can educate them, whether get away from the parks and that needs to be on bonds. And do you want it or not? But I think if you're going to have to raise taxes for police cars or let's say sewer or whatever you've got to raise it for, and I'm doing this on the city side just because that's what I know, so just indulge me if you will, but then it's not a problem. Tell people what it's for. They live here. They know what it's going to be for, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that I'm assuming it had to do with like the SB2 that ended up becoming SB1, where they were going to put a cap on
Yes.
on taxes.
Yes.
I think one of the big reasons why people want to know is just because we had a couple of the commissioners go down to Austin against that. Another thing that the commissioners
Against capping the taxes.
right.
Yes.
Another thing that the commissioners have done is they've given themselves pretty significant raises over the last 5 years. And a lot of people are fairly, I guess, disappointed might be the word in how that happened. Is there anything you can do to kind of make sure that doesn't happen again as far as being a county judge?
Well, the first thing I think as a county judge, I would be much more vocal against it. I don't believe in giving yourself a raise like that at all. I believe if you're going to, and I understand the only way a county judge can give, or a county commissioner's court can give themselves raises is to give it to themselves. Well, what you do is you put that on the ballot at the same time you're up. If the people want to vote it in, they vote that in. If you've earned it, you'll earn it. If you don't, you won't get voted in. I've been asked, well, what if the next person gets the raise? Well, then you didn't do your job. So that's how I look at that. No, you know what the job pays when you go in.
Well, tell me, what does the county judge have to do with it? What influence do you have over that?
I think you just become the leader. I think you are the leader of the commissioner's court. You're one of five. Your vote doesn't count anymore. Your voice doesn't count anymore. But I do think you are the leader. I think you become bringing them together. You have to know how to, everybody has good ideas. You have to know how to bring all those ideas together. How do we work together? I've been on a council, a very diverse council, for 8 years. It's nonpartisan, although you always know where people stand. So I've never had a problem working with people. I've never had a problem working and bringing people together. I've worked with people on the opposite ends to bring them to a compromise. I think that's what you have to do. You bring people together, get their ideas together, get to the table, and how do we make it work for what's best for the community?
So as a county judge, if something like this happened and you knew you were going to get outvoted, could you bring it to the people, either through newspaper, radio, whatever? Could you get that information to the people?
Sure.
Or is that something that has to be held within the...
No, I mean, I think it's just like anything else. I think you get it out. I think, the commissioner's court has always kind of been in a bubble.
Well, if the
quiet.
media is doing their job, they'll go to the commissioner court meetings and they will report on that.
Mm-hmm. I think you just be more vocal. I think, once again, you bring the people in.
Well, Karen, there's the music, so that wraps it up. Hey, we're so glad that you came out and answered a lot of questions this morning. We want to wish you good luck with your run for county judge.
Thank you.
And I don't know if we'll have time to talk to you again before the election or not. But
early voting starts next Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. It is heading towards 7:29 a.m. this morning. We'll take that 7:30 break, and we'll be right back on the flip side with more KFYO Mornings with Dave and Matt.